Alrighty. Cool. So yeah, today I wanted to discuss Google Ads and take you through some best practice to optimize your Google to get best bang for buck. By default, Google's going to do what's in their favor. So I just kind of want to teach you guys the tricks and the trade. Before I jump into Google Ads, I just want to sort of just explain where it fits into the whole Google into our whole sort of digital marketing space. So on the right here is our online advertising, which is Google Ads, and that feeds into the website. And a big part of getting the website right is making sure we've got strategy in place and we understand, who our target market is, and therefore what the type of content we can place on the website that is relevant to the patient that's doing the search. Because when I've done searches, when I've looked at a lot of like allied health websites, and a lot of them, and all like industries are guilty of this, we kind of talk about ourselves more than the patient issues. So I kind of like to frame it as like, if you're going to like put the content on the website, you want that copy to be as if you were having a conversation with your patient. So a few things before we get started with Google. So one, is your website set up to convert visitors? So is it really clear that they can book online? Is your phone number really clear as well? Or do you have other goals in place? So, do you have a form on your website that you would prefer people to fill out, or do you just want them to make a booking online? And with that in mind, when you go and visit your website, just making sure, it is really clear that there are these big buttons that we call kind of call to action buttons that sort of, I sort of like to put at the end of every section of like, a block of text, a book now button, or booking available today button, book online, call us. Make these buttons really clear, and don't be afraid to pepper, the website with these buttons, because I do notice that the more kind of call to actions you have on the website, the higher the conversion rates are. Also want to make sure that again, coming back to the content on the website, making sure it is authentic. Again, like, I see a lot of websites that do have a lot of fluffy content. At the end of the day, people coming from Google Ads are generally in a bit of pain, and they are kind of looking for a practitioner now. And then they are I sort of feel that they are looking at a couple of practitioners before making the decision. So with that in mind, they're probably only giving you 30 seconds. They probably don't want to know about all the fluff and stuff. We can keep that to an about page, but on the home page, they just want to know that, you've got the experience, and you can look after, the condition that I need treated, whether that's, back pain, neck pain, etc. And I also feel images make a big difference too. So just having a picture of all the practitioners, and even the photos of the actual clinic as well. Just, the reception area, what they can kind of expect before they come to the clinic. And another thing as well is just, this might be a bit obvious, but just like a clear name, your address, and open times as well is really important. And, if we are kind of, which I'll get to in a moment, but if we are creating specific landing pages for Google Ads, just putting that right up the top. The other thing before we continue with any Google Ads is to make sure your Google Analytics is set up properly for tracking and for goals. So what we want to basically do is establish what we call a website conversion. So a website conversion happens when we have like a desired action on the website. So if someone clicks the book book online button, or they click the contact us button, or they fill in a form, or they click the phone number on the mobile site, or if you've got a live chat on your site, all these are called conversions, and we want to track them as goals in analytics. It can get pretty complicated to set up. So what I kind of recommend is head over to favour.com, and you can find some really good people at some pretty reasonable pricing. So just looking at this guy here, he says he'll set up your Google Analytics and event tracking in 24 hours. He's had 5-star review, 228 people for 15 bucks. It's a no-brainer, because what that's going to do is feed this information into Google ads, and then basically you'll be able to tell, you know, what ads are working, what keywords are working, what's not working, and that's where we kind of get best bang for buck. With the bookings, I don't know if you use Clinico or not, but just what I would recommend is just heading over to Google. If you do use Clinico, you would just do Clinico Analytics tracking, and there's some articles on how to set it up, and then just send it to the guy on Fiverr, and he'll kind of get it set up for you. So that's if there's one thing I want you guys, you to take away from this, is that you got to really get your goals set up and properly imported into Google Ads. Alrighty, so setting up the Google Ad campaigns itself. So don't know if you're too familiar with this, but we have there are different layers to like the Google Ads, and I'll take you through a demonstration after this slide. But the top layer is a campaign. So what we want to have as a campaign is we want to have like our modalities set up as our top level campaign. So let's just say like you're a chiropractor, and you know, you do chiropractic. That's going to be your sort of one campaign. But if you also had myotherapy as another service or another modality in your clinic, then you want to set that up as a separate campaign. And the reason we want to do that is because we can toggle these campaigns on and off. So let's just say, you know, you did have a myotherapist, and they, you know, and he or they kind of, you know, quit in like, you know, at one stage, then you can just go into Google Ads and just pause that campaign, and, you know, it's all, you don't have to mess around with, you know, all the other stuff you've set up. Or you might sort of want to set a budget of like $10 to chiropractic and $5 to, you know, myotherapy. And that way we can kind of control the budgets a lot more. Then within our campaigns, the next step down is what we call ad groups. So with ad groups, we want to make sure that our main targeted keyword is set up for the ad group. So if we are targeting, say, chiropractic or physiotherapy, then we want that to be the main, we want that to be the ad group. If we're doing something like SOT chiropractic, like getting really specific, then we may want to set that up as a separate ad group. And the reason we want to do that is because we can set up within every ad group, we can set up a series of ads and also links to paid, you know, landing pages as well. So it just gives us a few reasons it's good. Is like, one is we're basically being very specific with our keyword and very specific with the copy in our ad, and that's really important for Google Ads to get our ad score, which I'll go through in a second, to get that ranked up really high, or as high as we can go. And B, it's also good for just tracking whether, you know, that campaign's actually working, right? So if we had SOT, which is, you know, pretty specific, then we're getting like 50 clicks in the month, but, you know, no one's really converting, or no one's booking, you know, making appointments, we might say, you know what, let's not waste our money on that. Let's pause that ad group and let's put that into the chiropractic keyword because that's working for us. Then underneath a keyword, underneath AdWords, we have keywords. I like to set up we have a phrase match keyword and an exact match keyword. So the reason we have that is if, say, someone's searching physio and we have that as an exact match, then Google are going to know, okay, well, we're bidding on that specific term. We're going to show for that term, and it's likely going to lessen the cost for us. So we just leave that as physio. But the thing is, we don't want to miss out on people searching for best physio near me. So that's why we use the phrase match as well. And then if we see people searching for best physio near me, then what we'll do is, and I'll show you this in a couple of slides time, but we'll create that as a new keyword. So then, and we'll make that an exact match. One really important thing to note about phrase matching is you can also appear for competitors, right? So if we're going after, physio or chiro or whatever, and that person has, there's a competitor that has physio in their name, then you're likely to come up for that. So if we're bidding on physio and a competitor down the road's enhanced physio, and we come up for that term and people are clicking on us for enhanced physio, we don't want to bid on that term, then we add that in as a negative keyword. So, and I'll get to that because that's all part of the optimization. And then underneath the keywords, we want to have ads. We have ads. So we have two types of ads. We have a call only ad, which is really important because they're the ones I feel that convert best, especially on mobile. And we also have responsive search ads, which are the ads that appear, on desktop, and they can also appear on mobile as well. But Google give us they're almost 10 or 15 options to fill out different headlines and descriptions, and we want to fill out every single heading we can and description. And I'll also take you through the strategy around how I go about doing that. So what I'm going to do is just take you over to a live account. Actually, not live, I've just set it up, but so there's still a few things I need to do on this account. And this is actually a physio. So, and he only does physiotherapy, so there's no other kind of modality that he offers. But in the campaign, you can see I'm just in the campaign here. I've just set up physiotherapy. So if I click in that, I have all the different ad groups. So one really important ad group you want to add that I probably should have added to the slide deck is your brand ad group. So, put in your clinic name. So his clinic name's Any Stage. And then within the ad group, I've got some keywords in here. So I'll put his name in there because, if I'm at the gym and I see a friend and they're like, oh, you got to go see, Daniel the physio, he's amazing, blah, blah, blah. I'll remember Daniel physio, but I might not remember his clinic, Any Stage. So we kind of want to make sure we're ranking for both. You won't pay much for these terms because they're not very competitive. So that's why I kind of like to add them in there. And you're going to kind of pick up some quick wins. And then the other thing I hear from clients a lot is, well, if I'm ranking number one already for my clinic, do I really need to put an ad there for my keyword? And I believe the answer is a yes. And that's because you're going to take up all the real estate of that sort of first search page for your sort of brand anyway. Other competitors can also bid on your brand, so you might as well have that there. And naturally, you'll rank higher because you'll have Google rank you on this quality score because your URL and everything about your site's going to lean towards your brand name. You'll naturally rank higher. And then just coming into the physiotherapy ad group here. I would, and if like chiropractic as well, I would just have the main top level keywords. So physiotherapy exact match, physio exact match, physio phrase match, physiotherapy phrase match, and it'd be the same with chiro. So it'd be chiro, chiropractor, and then you could probably even create a separate campaign for chiropractic as well. And again, the reason we want to do that is just to get that term chiropractic in the Google ads, in the ad copy. And we might also find that the term chiropractic doesn't work as well as chiropractor. And it might be that maybe doctors are searching for chiropractic versus, the general public that's, searching for chiropractor. The other thing I recommend as well is creating an ad group for locations and also surround like your location and your surrounding suburb. So just jumping into this one here, I've just got two basic keywords in here, which will be physiotherapy and then the suburb, or physiotherapy near near the suburb. And because these are longer kind of phrases, we can just have them as phrase match, because it could be best physiotherapy North Ryde or whatever. Like, yeah, we don't necessarily need to go the exact match for that. And then I would also add in, all the surrounding suburbs. So I generally put in 3 or 4 surrounding suburbs. And again, the reason we've got them as ad groups is we can change the copy to have, if we're in, North Ryde or whatever, we can have copy that says physiotherapy near Macquarie Park. And then because we've got the term Macquarie Park in our keyword and in our ad, then Google will likely show our ad because of that. Then just jumping into, say, so we've got our, keywords in here, and then just in our ads up here, I've set up the responsive search ad, and I just got the wrong URL. I've got to fix that. But yeah, I'm making sure I've got my main keyword at the top here. So main keyword up here. So this was a campaign for physical therapy. So I've kind of gone with professional physical therapy. I've still got to fill these out. But what I kind of like to do is just head over basically to Google. I'll just open up an incognito tab and say physiotherapy Sydney. And I want to kind of choose sort of like the main city of the state. Let's do this. Physiotherapy near me. And just look for the ads that are appearing here. And basically, the number 1 ad is there's generally a reason they're number 1, and that's because they've optimized their content, their copy. So, this 99 home visit physio for Sydney. So I mean, we don't do home visits, so that doesn't relate to us. But just kind of coming in here, physiotherapist in Camry. So that would be, that's that example of just having that location based copy. But yeah, so I'm just he's made an issue. So I'll just pick this up. He's advertising for Kaiser here, but it's not Kaiser. He's just done a copy paste. But yeah, I like the idea of just searching, figure out the top 2 ads, and then basically just paste them as your new headline, and then just keep adding as many headlines as possible, and Google will optimize and figure out as well what your best ad to serve to people. We can pin certain headings as well. So if we always want this sort of professional physical therapy to come up, or if you always want your brand to come up, then you can kind of pin them. You can do unpin, and then that just lets Google do its thing. It's kind of, you know, a test and see sort of what works. So come back here, and then with the call only ads. So we can come in here and just add a call ad. And one here, we want to obviously have the right phone number with the final URL. So you can either put your URL in here or not. So if you don't, then your website won't appear. It will just be a call button. I like the idea of testing it. We can have as many ads as we want. So you may want to have one with the URL and one without the URL, and just see which one kind of works best. And they also ask you for a verification URL just to verify the phone number. So if you've got your phone number on the Contact Us page, then just put in that verification URL. But call ads work well for like all allied health and all local marketing in general. You know, if you think about if you needed to get a quote for like roof repair or something, you know, you search on your mobile, it's just easier to call. They give us this option of adding a display path in here, and this is an opportunity to get some more keywords in here. So we might have physiotherapy, and it might be medical, sports medicine or something that you offer here, or like whatever the keywords are, you kind of want to match it. Fill out all the headlines again for the call ad, business name, description, and then the conversion. So we just want to kind of, you'll have your calls, you know, it'll be use the account settings, calls from ads, and then you just save that in there. So I sort of touched on the ad copy. There is also, so you can either go to Google and Google the keywords to find out what people are ranking, you know, what keywords and phrases they're doing. And, you know, you might also want to search not only in your state, but, see what Perth or Melbourne or Sydney are doing and copy that across, because the likely reason they're number one is because of their ad copy. And what we're trying to do is get this high quality score, because the higher quality score in our rankings. So just coming back to our keywords. So we come into here. This is a new account, so it doesn't have any data, but we have quality score here, and Google give you a ranking out of 10, and we want to get that as close as possible to 10. 7+ is where we want to be at, and how we get that higher is through the ad copy, and also the landing page experience, which I'll get to in a second. So with the landing pages, so the reason we do the different ad groups is so we can create, you know, as I was saying, like different ad copies for every ad group, but we also have the ability to create different landing pages for each ad group as well. So what I've done in the past, and I do a lot, is if we're doing the location ad group, so like if in this case, we're going after physiotherapy. He's actually got a clinic in Ivanhoe, so that works for them, but their surrounding suburbs are East Ivanhoe, Heidelberg. I have a dedicated page to Heidelberg, which is the suburb next to Ivanhoe, and just optimizing that content for Heidelberg. Sorry, so Heidelberg's in the title here, and it's up here in the title as well, and then just probably a couple more places. Yeah, so Heidelberg here, Heidelberg, and Google will pick up on that, and they'll say, okay, well, we've mentioned Heidelberg, 10 times, and then that will also increase our landing page experience, and also feed into the quality score as well. So to create landing pages, if you're using WordPress, you can just clone a page, and it doesn't necessarily need to live on the website. So you could literally clone your homepage and then manipulate that content for the ad group. And if we had a campaign ad group dedicated to women's health as an example, then we could clone the homepage, tailor the copy to be all towards women's health. So in this instance here, I'll just take this example here. So this is our live homepage, and we've got physiotherapy that really makes a difference. But if we had one, we could clone this and we could say physiotherapy support for women that really makes a difference. And then when we've got our services listed down here, we could list out, prenatal, postnatal, pelvic floor, any service that's kind of related to women's health, which you may not put on your main website or a service page, but really we're just trying to optimize that for the Google ad. And at the end of the day, we also want to make it a good experience for the user as well, because if they came to this homepage now, we targeted women's health, they might say, oh, these guys look a bit sporty. I don't know if they really look, do women's, physiotherapy. I'm out of here. Because as I said earlier, we've only got a short amount of time to capture. So yeah, I've just mentioned here, clone pages on your current site and use them specifically for Google Ads to test. And you can also include more direct messaging than you otherwise might not want to display on your main site. And then the last thing here is using extensions. So if we come back here into, so if we go into our main overview, our main campaign, we can set up what we call extensions. So extensions are just other little bits of content we can put up in our ad, and it just takes up more real estate. So if we go back and type physiotherapy, and these extra links here, they're extensions. The phone number's an extension. You can have your GMB in here as an extension, and then that comes up as an ad. So I'm just going to show you here. So yeah, you'd come over to the extensions. We can add site link extensions. So this links to their Pilates page. He does sports physio, so I've linked that to the services page. Book online, so I've linked that to the book online page he's got, and then the contact us as well. So when his ad shows, a lot of these links are going to show up. We have also the ability to add call outs. So call outs are kind of like a bit of a descriptive, they're saying here, show a descriptive text. So I'll put in here clinical Pilates, book online today, bookings available today, sports medicine. If you did like acupuncture, it might be, something like, we can read x-rays, something that's like an extra service that you might not have in your ad, add them as call outs. You can add the call extension as well. So just put in your phone number, and then the location extension allows you to add your Google Maps, and that's where you'll show up here in the Google Maps section. Okay, so as I sort of mentioned earlier, with Google out of the box, with Google Ads out of the box, their default settings are going to be in favour of Google. So we want to just manipulate a few things so we're basically not wasting money. If you are starting a campaign from scratch, or like it's the early days of the campaign, I like this idea of starting with a wide net. So although we're going to be paying Google a bit of money, it's a bit of wastage at the start, and it's not really ideal. But in our first month, we're ultimately paying Google for data. So, and let me just bring you over. So everything I'm going to discuss now is in campaign settings. So we want to go in here and going to just run through a few things here. So one thing they give us is this, what they call this bidding strategy. So if we come over to settings, we can go with bidding down here, and we can select different types of bidding strategies. So we can have like a manual bid where every single keyword we just nominate like a cost per click that we want for that particular keyword. So we could say, you know, we want to spend $3 for every click for, you know, chiropractor, and 50 cents for, you know, our brand name. But Google, and this feature can work really well if we have our conversion set up at the beginning. So what I kind of mean here about we want to like cast a wide net really comes down to the bidding strategy. So we can sort of tell Google we want to focus our bids on impression share. We want to basically show absolutely top result page 100% of the time. And this is really important if we're going to do this. We want to do maximum cost per click bid, and you want to set a max cost per click. So I'll notice it's very different in different regions. Like there's no cost per click I can kind of suggest. I sort of start at about the $2.50 mark, $3 mark, depends on how big your budget is. You can always come in here and change it. But what we're doing here for this bidding strategy is we're just telling Google it's basically anything chiro, anything, you know, chiropractic, just put us up there. And what we're trying to do is attract as many people as we can to the site. And then what's going to happen is hopefully we get a few conversions. And then all that conversion data feeds into Google. And then basically Google are going to learn, okay, what's the profile of the person that's likely to convert? And so we might get like 1 month of data, just depends how many conversions we get in there. So it might be, you might want to say, okay, when we get 20 conversions, then what we can do is come back to our bidding strategy and click on conversions. So we want to bid on conversion, and then we can set a target cost per what they call action. So a target cost per acquisition. So let's just say we spent $300 last month and we got 10 conversions. That means we're paying $30 cost per acquisition, right? But what we can feed in here is we can say to Google, well, we actually want you to work hard for our money, and we want you to get that to $25 cost per acquisition. And then they're going to work out, based on the previous conversions we had, which profiles are going to be that they should bid on, because we're using the Google engines and to basically do the bidding on our behalf. And once we get this dialed in, and once we get the conversions feeding in, then this is a real powerful tool, because we can kind of come back here every couple of months and just reduce it by you know, $5 here and there. kind of get it down, to $10. If we're paying $10 cost per acquisition, then that's basically 30 leads, or 30 potential patients per month. So that's kind of how that works. But in order to get to that state, we need to cast that wide net. Then just coming here, this is another great trick of Google's. Under networks, they'll tick this search network and display network, sometimes by default. So their search network ads can appear on other Google search Google sites. This is just a lot of junk clicks. So it's not Google. Google might have like a directory or something, or sometimes in the news, sometimes like news.com, you can sometimes see these searches, and the news.com use the display network. So they're the banner ads. It's just junk data, bots most of the time. Just make sure they're unticked, because you'll just waste money. The other thing I like to do is the locations. So just coming down here, coming to locations. So we have this advanced search in here, and we can check this show all areas. And I've already done this already, but what we want to do is we obviously want to appear for North Ryde, but I also tick the other suburbs. So let's just untick that for a second. Let's just say, like, this seems to be like really close to North Ryde here in Sydney. So we tick that and we target that. And we just want to target, the surrounding suburbs, and we want to make sure we tick every single suburb. Multiple reasons is that reason number one is that sometimes the accuracy of where someone isn't 100%, just because of like our internet towers. And the other reason is that we can get statistics on what suburbs are actually driving conversions or not. So if we're kind of like, all right, well, Linfield, Killara over here, we're spending $15 a month over here, and we've got no conversions, but we're spending $10 a month on Lane Cove and we're getting a couple conversions. Let's just remove Killara and Linfield, and that way more budget will go into Lane Cove. And then we also get that information, and we can also take that into, when I was setting up those ad groups before, like if we sort of said, okay, Lane Cove's working really well, but we actually don't have an ad group or a keyword targeting Lane Cove, we'd go back to, and we'd come in for our monthly optimization, create an ad group for, chiropractor Lane Cove, the keyword phrase mash, Lane Cove, and then create the two ads underneath that, and send them, create the home, a landing page for them as well. And then the last thing that kind of gets everyone is this ad schedule. So by default, Google will just show your ads 24 hours. But so if you just come over here to ad schedule, we just want to make sure we're showing ads, in like basically around your business hours. So I kind of like to start it early, about 6 a.m. I think, like, people waking up at 6 a.m. or maybe going to the gym, they kind of, do their back or something early on in the day. And then, they're straight onto Google looking for a practitioner. If you are open on the weekends, then Any Stage is open Saturday mornings. So I sort of start Saturday mornings a bit earlier, 5 a.m, but just cut it off at 2 p.m. because, their clinic's shut. But you can play around with these. I've turned them off at 8 p.m, but you might want to extend it to 10 p.m. You can just kind of, yeah, mess around with that, see what's working, what's not working. So once we've sort of set up our campaign, we don't want to sort of set and forget, especially if we're like doing that big strategy of maximizing impressions or maximizing clicks. So the number one thing I'd recommend, which is a big one, is negative keywords. So under keywords, Google give us a report on search terms. So search terms are actually what people are searching for. So I don't have a list here because I don't want to sort of show a live client account, but search terms will be like chiropractic. If we had the phrase match like chiropractic, and then we had chiropractic near me come up, then we can click on that ad, and we can add that to our campaign, or we can do a negative keyword. So let's just say, as an example, like you're in Perth, I think, and yeah, and then so chiropractic Melbourne came up as a keyword. We obviously don't want to, we're nowhere near Melbourne, so we kind of want to just do a negative keyword on. I would just do Melbourne in general. So if it did come up as chiropractic, then you just do a negative keyword Melbourne. If there was like even a suburb that was 20 kilometres or 15 kilometres away from where you are, I would negative keyword those out. And then I would also do that for competitors as well. So we can kind of do this before we even start a campaign, and we can come over here to our negative keyword list. And so you can just add any list here. It could be, I could have a general list, and then because this is a physio, I might just have the term chiro that I don't want to bid on. You might want to do vice versa, physio to chiro. But what I like to do is set up a list for competitors, and then you might just kind of Google your competitors in here already around your sort of suburb. And what you do is we use the commas, the quotation marks, sorry, and it might be chiro. No, I'm just trying to think some random name. I've just got 8th Avenue Physio, AV Physio, and just list them out here, phrase match them. But then as you're going through your negative keywords, through your search term, just add them to the keyword list. I also have locations in here. So I've just started off with some Adelaide, Brisbane, Melbourne, Victoria. But he's in Sydney. Well, let's just say Bondi's on the other side of town. So I could probably come in here and just add in Bondi to that. And at least we're starting with a bunch of negative keywords. If you wanted to get really fancy, you can actually just search list of negative Google ads, and ultimate 100-word negative keyword list. And there are heaps of these around. And then they can just give you, some generic things like, bargains, some, cheap, cost. We might not want to, deals, discount, free. But then there are also things related to health, which might be like bulk build. I've noticed Bupa comes up a lot, like a lot of the insurance companies, because, and you may or may not want to bid on that. Even the different types of modalities can come up. Then there's also courses, like there could be chiropractic courses. There could be, a whole range of things. So just kind of build out like a general list and just kind of add them. And then just, make sure you've kind of got, your quotation in here. And then just make sure once you do create your list, just make sure you're applying it to your campaign as well. And every month you kind of just want to come into this sort of search terms here, just monitor the list and be like, okay, cool, I'll add that to the competitors list. I'll add that to the general list. You can have one list if you want. I just like to separate it because, I don't know, no real reason. I don't know. I would sort of focus on this heavily in the first kind of few months, maybe weekly for the first month, fortnightly for the following 2 months. Definitely help. The next thing we want to do, which I touched on earlier, is focus on quality score. So as I mentioned before, the higher the quality score, the more likely Google's going to show your ad in the top of the list. So so how we check quality score is just coming into the keywords list. If you don't see quality score up the top here, you can click on column. So if you don't see it up here, quality score, landing page experience, you can click on columns, edit column, and you can just search for quality score here, and then just check the box. So you want to check quality score, you want to check landing page experience, ad relevance is a good one. And so ad relevance measures how closely your ad keywords matches to your ads. And then they also have an expected click-through rate. Again, it's just like this Google machine that kind of judges this, but yeah, the idea is that you want to focus on those, and then always just kind of improve your ad copy or improve your landing pages, and then that will bump up that quality score. And then the other thing is, yeah, as you're going, just slowly add more ad groups. I always like to start small, so start with what you know, and then grow. So I don't get carried away with like the conditions, like the chiropractor for back pain or chiropractor for neck pain. I would get my campaign right first. Know that, okay, we're getting return on value here. We're spending $300 and we're getting $600 worth of new patients. And then, okay, we've got some reason to sort of start to test for other things. So one example is, like, say you want to start advertising for exercise physiology as an example. I was thinking more physiotherapy. You would come, create an ad group, create keywords, create ads, create landing pages, and slowly test them. Don't go crazy on these. You might kind of want to sort of do a couple per month. And then just keep a close eye on the numbers as well. I use a custom app to get these figures. But one thing actually I forgot to mention before, when you're getting goals in Google Analytics, you can assign a value to a goal. So what that means is, if someone's booking online, and we know on average we charge $100 per session, then you can make every booking a $100 value. And then that's going to feed into your Google Analytics or your Google Ads, or and then we can say, okay, cool. Well, I'm looking at, I've spent $2,000 this month, and in return I've got $3,500 of conversion value. I like to keep an eye on the average cost per click. I don't kind of go too crazy on this, but I just want to make sure we're not spending money. And then I also like to know that, well, if I'm improving my ads, does that have an impact on my average cost per click? And the one thing I do want to note is also the conversion rates as well, which is really important. So this is like a percentage it gives us. So with this campaign, 30% of clicks coming from Google taking action on our site. So coming back to this slide, they're either clicking the book online, the contact us, all these things that we're getting set up in our kind of Google tracking and Google goals. And then we know, okay, well, these campaigns are working. If the conversion rate's really low, like 1% of people are only taking action, then we're like, okay, well, something's either wrong with our ads or our keyword, we're bidding on the wrong keywords, or, something's wrong with our landing page as well. So we might, pick one, we might start with the landing page. Okay, let's add more book online buttons to the page, and let's see if that improves that conversion rate. And then we can see the different goals we've set up as well. So in this instance, I like to track book now clicks, and that's so we can feed Google the information, like the conversion information, so they can profile the right audience for us when we're doing that conversion bidding strategy. And then, of course, tracking new bookings. So, we know in the last, whatever period this was, we had 100 bookings, $100 goal value here. And we also have our kind of conversion rates, and then the contact form as well. So this has like 3, which is pretty low. So that might indicate to us, right, let's not focus on the contact us. We know that the book online works. And we can also track, one last thing is, in tools and conversions. This is where we can also see how many ads, how many calls we're getting from our ads. So that comes in here, and then website calls as well. But this is what we kind of want our guy on Fiverr to set up for us. To make it easy. Otherwise, so I know there's probably information overload.
I was a little bit